Welcome to NCC lecture series. This is NCC lecture number 52. Honorable Commanding Officer, respected Associate NCC officers, dear permanent instructors, and dear cadets and students. Today we discuss effective communication. We know what communication is. We know different aspects of communication. And of course, there are many barriers to effective communication. And today we discuss what causes communication gap. There can be communication gap quite often. And if there is communication gap, communication doesn't take place. What the speaker is lecturing or telling the audience may not be effectively understood by everyone in the audience or some people in the audience. So there could be some problems between the speaker and the listener. So let us discuss some of the causes of communication gap. We know that the sending and receiving of messages between the speaker and the listener is what we mean by communication. And speaking from the point of view of the media, like the print media, the visual media, the audiovisual media, you can say that the sending and receiving of messages through chosen channels is communication. But we discuss communication as a way of exchanging ideas between people, two people, or of course one speaker and an audience. And we are discussing causes of communication gap. There are many causes of communication gap, and let us look at some of the major causes of communication gap. The first major cause of communication gap is the hierarchy. The hierarchy refers to the speaker, of course, is very superior. The speaker sometimes is authoritative, or the speaker is the authority. Say, for example, you are all the cadets and you are listening to maybe your associate NCC officer, or you are listening to your commanding officer, or you are listening to maybe somebody who is very authoritative or powerful or dominant or superior in your organization. No matter whether it is National Cadet Corps or National Service Scheme, or it can happen even within an office where you have the boss, the chief executive officer, and of course a lot of people working under him. So hierarchy is the presence of, or rather the speaker is the authority, the powerful presence of the authority. The powerful presence of the authority as the speaker, the powerful presence of the authority on stage, the powerful presence of the authority maybe inside the audience. So somewhere you have the presence of the authority or the person who is controlling the organization, the office, or the agency, or the firm you are in is somewhere, either the speaker or the listener or in the audience or somewhere, or it can even be closed circuit camera. So the presence of the hierarchy is just making a lot of problems inside you, or it is preventing you from communicating effectively as the speaker, as the listener. So that is, you're not able to question the speaker, or you're not able to discuss, or you're not able to ask everything you want to, because the speaker is authoritative or powerful, or there is the presence of the speaker and the presence of the authorities preventing you from discussing with the speaker. That is the first cause of communication, the hierarchy, the presence of an authority who control the participant. The second cause of communication gap is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest occur when we have, just like this, we have an authority, and here the authority is often the parental authority or parental decisions, parental control. So we have a son or a daughter or children, and the son, daughter, or the child has his or her own personal interest. And the personal interest of the son, daughter, or child in the family is not cared for, but the parent is influencing the child, and the parental expectations is preventing the child from completely involving in a learning process or in maybe undergoing a course, so it can happen. So the child doesn't want to go for maybe a study of commerce subject, a higher course in commerce and management, or maybe the child doesn't want to go for engineering, the child doesn't want to go for medicine, but the parent is compelling. And this compulsion or the influence of the parents will always be a problem. Other than that, sometimes the parents could be expecting too much from the child. Okay, you must get 90%, you must have A double plus, A plus, A grade, 80% and 90%. So this kind of expectation, the child may not be interested in the subject. The child may not be able to get. So the caliber, the potential, the ability and the interest of the child is very, very different from that of the parent. And there is always a possibility for conflict in such contexts. And this conflict of interest of the participant will lead to communication gap. The speaker says something, the participant is not interested. So, communication gap. And the next cause of communication gap is the level of motivation that one holds. We have a lecture on the possibilities of internet, or we have a lecture on science and technology in the 21st century, or we have a lecture on the effective communication or barriers to effective communication. And if the participant is really interested, yes, I must improve my communication skills. I must be a very good speaker. I must be a very good listener. I have to speak to the audience. I have to learn a lot of knowledge. I have to reach my goal. So I must have a very good personality. I must be, of course, successful in my life, in my career. So with all this interest, of course, with this motivation, if you are in the audience, if you are a participant, if you are participating and involving completely because you are motivated. So the level of motivated. Sometimes some participants just come because they have no other way. They are compelled to go. Now, 8:30 to 9:30, you have a lecture. Go there, attend it. Yeah, just attending for the sake of attending, not with interest. So this can be a big problem. So sincere involvement is a must for proper communication. The sender or the speaker is sending all the messages effectively, and the listener, the participant, is receiving everything effectively, because both of them are motivated. Especially the participant is motivated. And if you are really motivated, if you have that expected level of motivation, there will be proper communication. And if that level of motivation is lacking, communication will not take place. This is the third cause of communication gap. Now we come to the fourth cause of communication gap. That is perception. Say some participants, some people in the audience, they think that nobody understands me. Oh, you may have, or the participant may have certain level, or rather he must be very, very brilliant sometimes. He must be sometimes just mediocre or average. Sometimes he must be very, very poor intelligence level. Otherwise, sometimes he could be very tired. Okay, maybe his interest is somewhere else. So he is forced to, not physically fit, not well, and compelled to attend a program, a lecture, or of course a class, not interested sometimes in this subject, but compelled to. At that time in the evening, 4 to 5, the participant must be interested in maybe games, but he is compelled to go for a lecture on the benefits of improving mathematical skills. Not at all interested in that. That person is interested in maybe literature or creativity, like writing maybe stories or poetry. So nobody understands me. So somebody in the audience is attending the program with the feeling that nobody understands me, no one is sympathetic to me. So with that feeling, if someone is there, there is no proper perception, and lack of perception can sometimes cause of communication gap, or rather it can be one of the many causes of communication gap. Now we come to the next, the fifth cause of communication gap, that is psychological factors. Psychological factors can be again reason for communication gap. Say for example, fear of the authority. I said it some time ago. Okay, and fear of powerful people, authority as well as powerful. And of course, sometimes the participant could be angry about the rules and regulations of the organization. So maybe not at all interested. Okay, he could be suffering from sometimes some anger, maybe some misunderstanding, maybe some hatred to the speaker, to the organization, to the system, to the very program as such, to the lecture, the way it is. So he could again have some wrong notions about the topic, the subject, prejudiced. So all this can be psychological factors. So if a person is attending a program with all these preconceptions and prejudices and fear and anger and jealous, all this is psychological. There will not be proper communication or effective communication. So when one is going for a program, a lecture or a class or a course, okay, he must be very, very healthy psychologically, like must be broad-minded, must be having a lot of positivity. This is for my improvement. I must improve. So clean mind and clean consciousness is required for proper communication. So the fifth cause of communication gap is psychological factors like blocks, fear, anger, worry, tension, jealousy. All right, now we come to the last important reason for communication gap, that is stress. The participant suffers from stress. Stress could be caused by many reasons, like stress due to examination, too much of examination. This week there is an examination, there is, or a series of examination is going on. Soon after that there is going to be the internal examination, external examination, theory, practical, too many examinations and classes along with all these examinations. So this will create stress in the student sometimes, the participant sometimes. Maybe in a professional course, of course, it can create a lot of problems. So, lot of fear of the examination, too many examination, and too much work again. A lot of work going on, work-related lectures. So if there is too much work, not enough time to take rest and interact and relaxation, recreation, no time to go home. Sometimes if the student is in hostel or away from home, homesick the person could be, missing someone or somebody, all this can, personal pressure sometimes. So because of too much of tension, worry, there can be stress, and stress can always be a kind of barrier to proper communication. So try to avoid stress. So if you can avoid stress, more communication will happen. So today, right now in this lecture, we looked at some of the important causes for communication gap. One is hierarchy, number 2 is conflict of interest, number 3 is level of motivation that one needs or one holds, and perception. Number 5 is psychological factors, and number 6 is stress. Okay, so let us see to it that all these causes can be avoided in a program, while conducting a program, while giving a lecture, while just attending a program. I wish you all the best. Be very, very excellent in communication and be a leader, be an all-rounder. May God bless you. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.